We've had strong occurrences over the week. We also had one which was very, very topical, the removal or the eventual removal of the Chief
Justice of Ghana.
And also the unexpected, or let's say the looming depreciation of the cedi once again, which I think also rose eyebrows on what is going on with the economy right now. We thought things were better. But now things are going.
It's a big deal, especially when we are going into the festive season.
Definitely,
so it's a major issue.
Definitely.
Right now.
So let's start with the very first one, which is the depreciation of the cedi. The cedi, thus far, beginning this year, had its definite stability. We all saw that it was in a good shape in the first, second quarter, but within this third quarter, it seems to be reducing in value, and there are lots of questions we are asking, or people are asking, what is going on? What is not being implemented right? And Phil, help us appreciate, what are the points that we have to raise? Are there any fundamental factors that ought to be highlighted for people to appreciate that these are the players within this circle when it comes to stabilizing the currency and also, on the other hand, its depreciation?
Like you rightly mentioned, the cedi is beginning to fall for a few weeks now. And it's a bit disappointing, first of all, to say, because we had a very good start from the beginning of the year, and things were beginning to look like they were stable and all of that. So to see that we are declining again in the strength of the cedi is a bit appalling. But largely, these are the issues that we can look at that is affecting the performance of the cedi currently. For me, most importantly, is local productions. How well are we producing locally in the country? And I'm not speaking only for Ghana. It's a big deal across Africa, because Africa is largely dependent on Europe and America for imports to help their markets and other things. And even when it comes to governance, a lot of our governments from Africa are borrowing resources from the IMF and other institutions to support the economy. So for me, first of all, we need to make sure that we are increasing local productions and making sure that our local producers are doing things in the right way. One of my major concerns when it comes to production locally is that, for example, the case of Ghana, let me make this practical. So sometimes the shoes I wear are made in Ghana. Okay, so I had a conversation with my tailor, and he says to me that a company was looking for him to do some sort of, sew suits for their employees. Okay, and he was stranded because he didn't have the capital to, access
the
materials and all of these things. And you know how contracts sometimes work in this country. You've got to pre-finance it by yourself, and then when the company that's giving a contract knows that you are able to, then they can pay off and all of these kind of things. So these kind of things, if he has to go to a bank to borrow, he's borrowing at more than 20%, 30%. These are major issues. So, when you look at all of these things, you want to ask yourself, how are the local producers going to be able to do these things? Over the weekend, there was, this is Ghana Fair, organized by CTFM and Channel 1 TV. Amazing things being done in Ghana. But can these people, battle it out with countries like China, where you find cheap labor, and then you find something that can be produced in Ghana, but somebody go to China and produce it for cheap. So a product that is produced here probably will sell about 15 cedis, but somebody goes to produce the same thing in China, comes back and is selling it for about 5 cedis. How's the local producer able to, compete with such a person?
Definitely.
Okay, so this is one of the major issues. And secondly, when it comes to the policies the Bank of Ghana, bring out, are these policies sustainable? Is a major thing for me, because this is the Central Bank of Ghana. These are the people responsible for making sure that the cedi is stable for a long period. Many times you don't, per my observation, you don't go beyond 6 months having a very strong currency, which tells you that the measures are probably not sustainable, or they are for a short while. And then sometimes you see it goes up and down and it's in a certain level for a while, and then there's a steep fall again. These things are the two major things I can mention off my head that are a big deal. But one key thing for me is that we have just entered September. We are getting into the last quarter of the year. Once we exit September, people are beginning to import and do stuff for the festive season. And it is normal that when demand is high, these things will result in some sort of inflation, because the dollar is not very much in the system. There's not a lot of supply. But like we already know, we are not producing a lot in Ghana. So all of these things will mean that we are importing from other countries, and means we need a lot more dollar to do these things. So I feel it might get worse by the time we are probably around November, before we enter Christmas proper in December.
Definitely. I mean, if you've actually shared with us some very avid pointers about this challenge, some of which also that we also want to appreciate is that the Cedi did very well this year. 40% increase this year was something that we all were happy about, because it brought stability within the country. And some of the main reasons why it got to that point, we all could appreciate. Ghana's earnings when it comes to exports, gold exports and cocoa, were able to help us stabilize this, and also some support from the IMF helped us to keep this in check. Down the line, we are now beginning to realize that there are some factors that are tough to control. The speculation with these other market players who also avail the dollar in the system, even though the central bank had tried to withhold the inflow of the dollar within our own economy. And that, of course, when it's available, inflation is high. Purchase is high, and people are, and now the dollar becomes a very common element of exchange and makes the cedi less. So they tried, but here we see that the season is causing it to rise, because, as you mentioned, demand is increasing. And also, recently we also heard the Bank of Ghana expressed that we have got $11 billion in foreign reserve. Now, one good thing on that side is that we have a 3-year high amount in reserves. Also, on the other hand, has an effect, because this ample foreign reserves means that you have got more of international currency inflow. And that is also one of the reasons why it can affect your currency. Again, it's expenditure. So government at a point in time is now beginning to spend. And this expenditure also has a way to also escalate and cause effect on the downward pressure on the cedi. So these are not mysterious factors.
No, not at all.
They are well-known factors that we all appreciate in this country. The question is, how worse would it be? Or how better would it be? Where can we land, or where can we soft land the cedi from now to the next in the next 3 years? Because 2025 is ending by December. Just one last quarter to go. Are we going to see another upward rise of the dollar's exchange towards the cedi, or is there going to be any stability thereof?
It's a big question. I mean, it's a big question, because like I said in my earlier submission, for me, everything depends now on the sustainability plan. How sustainable is the plan? We've got some good reserves, but I mean, you have just juxtaposed both sides of the situation. How is it going to look like? This is just the first year of this current administration. There's 3 more years to go when we exit 2025. How is it going to look like? Is this thing sustainable? Thankfully, we are one of the highest exporters of gold. I mean, we are doing fine in that regard, but I think that we need a clear sustainability path. The Bank of Ghana, together with the Ministry of Finance, must be able to tell us what the plan is and how sustainable it is. I mean, by now, we should be able to have a good projection of at least the next 2 years. Okay? Because like I said, sometimes you don't have a plan that goes beyond 6 months. It's the reason we started the year very well, and probably just about halfway the year, we are beginning to see the instability of the cedi again. And to realize that the figures from other countries shows you that the cedi is the worst performing currency in the 3rd quarter. It's a big deal, because when we started the year, we were one of the best. The Ghana cedi, which has fallen at 13.4 followed by the Argentine peso 11.5. There's the Botswanan pula 7.7. Then the Dominican Republic peso 5.6, Chilean peso 4.3, and then the Ethiopian birr at 4.1. So even Ghana, who started really well, I'm not sure of the other countries I've just mentioned here, but the fact that we started so well and we have fallen even beyond 10%, for me is a big deal. So I'm just interested in the sustainability path.
Definitely.
Which I feel must be a key thing when it comes to the policies. If we can't see at least a 2-year plan, I know it might be difficult because some of these things are such that we can't control them, like you mentioned. So let's leave out, or let's make room or an allowance for the components that we can't control so much. But the ones that can be put under control, there must be strong measures to keep them in hold for at least 2 years. Okay, because these things can stabilize the economy for a good while.
Interestingly, if you do a juxtapose, over the 8-year tenure of the previous administration, we have to make such comparisons to appreciate how things are going and see how important we have to work on this. 8 years ago, within 4 years of the 2022-2024, so 2020-2024 space, we saw an unprecedented uprise of the dollar and a fall in the Ghana cedi, which was so bad that it left, I think, from 10 cedis, 8, 9, 10, which is 17. From 15, right?
At a point to go to 16.
16. It fell back to 15. The final was around 15, 14 cedis. It is the first year of this government entering the last quarter, and we're seeing a drop or a stable part of 10 cedis now to 12 cedis. If we do not have very stringent measures, if the central bank hasn't ensured that inflation is kept, because inflation is very key. If the goods and services in this country are increasing at that very high rate, investors will have no need or no reason but rather shift their money across. And when they keep doing that, we have so much cause to have our dollar rise, the cedi fall, because exchange will always go on. The measure the central bank is using to withhold supply of dollars, some banks today have not even gotten the demand they need.
That's true.
Starving the economy of dollars is a way, but not the permanent way. It's a temporary way, because there are still people behind the scenes who can give you the dollar you need.
That's one crazy thing about our economy. I cannot understand.
It is one thing we have to appreciate. There are people out there who are supplying the dollar. If the banks, even the banks are not getting it, they have it. They are even giving the banks. And that's the point. So with that economy, we have to put in very stable, formidable measures, not ones which are weak in their faces. At the long run, if this year we see these seasonal surges people are demanding, next year there will be no change. And it will grow. If every year we're supposed to see this growth happening, what will be the fate of the dollar against the Ghana cedi in 4 years' time? If we really mean this to ensure we curb it. It's very important.
I mean, the Bank of Ghana does take the credit for saying that overall we have made a 23% gain, overall, from the first quarter till now. But as much as I can credit them for that, I just want to say that we shouldn't glorify ourselves in that position, because I don't want to say that the worst is yet to happen, but the way things are going, and knowing that we are going into the festive season, because people have started making demands and making imports already, preparing for the Christmas. So I feel like if we are not able to walk away from this issue of the 23% gain and think about now, the next few years for this government might be worse. Like we saw in the past government, we just made a comparison where the dollar shot up to 16, 17 cedi. Like it's crazy. When it happens like that, everything else is different in the country. Okay, so it's a thing that I feel like the Bank of Ghana should not. Let's take credit for it. That's fine, but let's walk away from this glory and then tell ourselves is not over yet. It's like I said, the sustainability is very important to me, because if you're unable to sustain this for the next few months, we don't know what's going to happen in the next 3 years for the government, that in the next 3 years that is left for them. So I mean, Bank of Ghana, we do appreciate your work, but just up your game and let's see what happens in the next few years. All right.